Hello guys, and welcome back to Mr. Hurricane Boy. Today we'll be taking looking at another episode of Reddit. Today we're taking out the subreddit AmITheAsshole, where we decide whether somebody is a bitch or not. So, Fountain Candid 8567 has this post. Am I the asshole for not buying pads for my trans sister? I, 20 female, live at home while going to college and working part-time to contribute to the family's finance. I'm in charge of making a budget and buying the groceries. My sister, 19 male to female, Julia, is going to college and doesn't have a job. Recently, I noticed that some of my pads were disappearing when I wasn't on my period. I asked my 15 female younger sister to use tampons if it was her in case she wanted to change, but she told me it wasn't her. Days later, I saw Julia going out of the bathroom with one of my unwrapped pads in her hand. I asked her why she used it. Well, she didn't even need it. She answered that it helped her alleviate her gender dysphoria. I told her that even though I sympathized a lot, I didn't have a lot of money for extra pads, and that she's trying to get a job if she wanted pads. I even offered to try to help her get a part-time job, but she refused and said that I was being selfish and an asshole. Oh wow, I don't get stuff. Oh my god, I don't get stuff for free without. I don't want a job. I know that I could technically buy her, but money is tight, and I'm saving to afford rent in the city and pay back my student loans. You're not the asshole. So you have 0 to 5 buttholes and your sister. I don't want to brush off gender dysphoria as something that's not real, but at the same time, I'm sorry. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you constantly wear pads even if you're not on your period. Something is if you want it, you can buy it yourself. You do not need it. If you're after starting your period, then yeah, okay. But no. Unless you actually need them, then you cannot expect other people to buy them for you. I was saying, hey sister, I'll take some of your Xbox games. You don't need them, you can buy them yourself. And when you say no, and tell her that you can buy her, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what, because an Xbox game is definitely not it. I'm trying to think of a metaphor. A comparison. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I thought of it as if you saw your sister taking out stacks of paper that she's not going to use, or that she doesn't really need it, but then again you'd use it. I'm really trying to think. Oh, I know. What if you took Band-Aids from somebody, yet you don't have any cuts? You just want to look cool. And when they say, you don't need Band-Aids, and I sometimes need them, and they're going to make me run out of them, and they tell you that you can get a job to buy them, and you're like, no, you can get them for me. And especially because she's 19. Throwaway 1800 says this. Not the asshole. It's not your responsibility for her comfort to come out of your pocket. Why can't your parents just get her some? She's 19. She should be getting her own. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna read because, yeah, we already know. Oh, am I the asshole for not paying the vet bills after my nearest dog ate food I left outside? This week, I, 28 female, hosted a family gathering. The people there were my sister and her family, 4 in total. My brother and his wife, my boyfriend, and mine and his parents. I live relatively out in the country, so it's not exactly common for whole properties to be fenced, usually just fences for animals. Since it was nice out, we ate lunch outside. Some of the food wasn't immediately brought inside after we ate, including some desserts that were mostly chocolate and a bit of fruit. I figured the food would probably be fine after being left out for a little bit, and if not, it could just be thrown away. The food was covered, too. After we ate, we went down to a small pond that's on my property for a little bit, probably half an hour, 45 minutes. It has a nice dock and view of the trees, and it's a great place to spend some time. When we got back up to where the food was left, the neighbor's dog was on the table, eating the food and ripped the covers off. I got my neighbors and they apologized, but as for the dog had eaten, I told them, and some of the food was toxic to dogs, chocolates, grapes, etc. They started freaking out and rushed the dog to the vet. Yesterday, they contacted me and asked if I would pay for the vet bills. Their dog survived, but needed extreme extensive care and had racked up quite a bit in vet bills. I had to pay a quarter of the bills, but they wanted all of it because the food she ate was mine. Oh, I'm sorry. You should watch your dog next time before asking me for money for something that I left out. That's really like saying... That'd be the same as, oh, I went inside to the bathroom and I was, on the toilet for, 20, 30 minutes. And I come out, your child is eating something that made her sick. You expect me to pay for for your hospital bills for your child that you should have been watching? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that your child was actually my child. They say that it had accidentally gone out and they didn't mean to, and that I should pay all the bills. Again, watch your child. / fur baby. I told them a quarter of nothing, and they're still upset about it, and they want me to pay more. I did leave the food out, though. Am I the asshole for not paying the full cost? No, you are not, and I'm actually going to write a comment. No, this is like if you went inside to go to the bathroom for 20 to 30 minutes and their child gets to your food and their child gets to your food and got sick. They should have kept a better eye on their child. They have no excuse for blaming you, considering you even took extra steps to prevent such things from happening, like the tablecloth covering it. Again, not the asshole. There. It's all posted. Not the asshole. It's their dog. They let it accidentally. They failed to supervise their pet. The fact that the trouble the dog got into happened to be on your property doesn't make you responsible here. It's the responsibility of the pet owner to keep their pet safe. Full stop. Yeah, I wouldn't pay them a dime. This is 100% their fault. Giving them any money implies that you're partially at fault. You are not at all. This. Just because it happens on your property doesn't make it your fault. Yeah, OP shouldn't pay 1 cent. It'll invite more trouble. Yes, while I commend OP for the offer, being the good neighbor, given the dog owner's attitude, I would rescind it. With neighbors like this, you give an inch, I would rescind it. Because with neighbors like this, you give them an inch, they will take a mile. But then, again, OP does not need to live next to them. Wait. But then again, OP does have to live next to them. Yes, they'll be just as pissed as OP for paying 1/4 as paying nothing at all. There's no reason to pay anything for this group. Not the asshole. In fact, too nice. Especially since OP is already at the cost of the food that the dog ate. I'd be pretty pissed if someone else's pet ate all of my food and demanded I pay them. If anything, the neighbors owe you. I'd also be questioning the bill before agreeing to pay anything, if I'd pay anything at all, which is unlikely in this scenario. OP notified the neighbors of what had happened straight away. If the neighbors took the dog to the vet immediately and explained potential chocolate and grape poisoning, the dog would be given an emetic, do a spectacular vomit all over the floor, and would most likely be that for 99.99% of dogs. Even assuming an emergency after-hours vet visit, there's a limit on how much that would cost. The only reason a dog would need extensive care and rack up large medical bills is if they didn't take the dog immediately and left it until obvious signs of poisoning had happened. At which point, yes, the poor animal could already be in severe trouble, or already had an existing issue, and eating OP's assist was just the icing on the cake, so to speak. Unfortunately, yes, some vets will recommend the full gamut of testing, ultrasounds, fluid, etc. immediately, even when they know it's too early to need any of those things. I guess that could be the case here. I'd want to see the full copies of all associated vet bills, including the date/time the dog saw the vet, and ask who had requested or recommended what treatment before even faintly considering paying anything. It would turn out the dog had been taken hours or even days later, or that they had demanded overboard treatment immediately, even though it wasn't needed, or Mr. Garbage Guts had existing kidney disease from repeatedly reading their kitchen, then sorry, not my problem. This is making it all way more complicated than is right. The dog wandered onto OP's property and sickened itself. There's no combination of additional facts on the dog owner's side that puts any financial or moral responsibility whatsoever on OP. I don't know what that means. I am not an expert. I'm surprised why it's INA. Like IAN. I'm not an expert. Okay, but above comment has an important truth. Is that you pay any portion of the bills, you're stating that you're at least partially responsible for what happened. What if the dog develops an issue in a month because of what happened next? Super expensive to fix. Are you going to pay more money? They could take you to court in their argument. A decent one would be that you already accepted partial responsibility for the incident, which means you are partially at fault. You don't want to get caught up in this mess by trying to be a decent guy. You could be putting yourself on the hook at that, or by admitting fault. In many jurisdictions, pets that escape the controlled custody of their owner are responsible for the actions taken by the pet. Look into your local laws of country ordinances about leash laws, etc. But please, don't sign anything or pay any money at all. It's actually like, give them no money at all. Also, sue them for the cost of the food that the dog ate and contaminated. I assume you also probably had to throw out the entire table full of food. That's probably $200. Sue them in a small claims court. Same, they won't get a penny from me, but I would from them. I was supposed to be reimbursed for the food the dog ate. As a dog owner, absolutely this. You're being generous to offer even that 25%. I agree. I'm just thinking at the time my Labrador ready to picnic. I was mortified. It was totally my fault for not controlling the dog. I'm having similar flashbacks. This poor family was having fish and chips at the park, and my dog ran over and ate it. We were in a different part of the park and didn't even know about the picnic, or we would not have let him off. But you better believe that we paid for the food to be replaced and even offered to go and replace it ourselves. So I think I'm going to do one more story, because I think 3 is like a good amount for these. As we were going to do 4, I wanted this to be a sort of long episode that like you can fall asleep to. I'm not sure who want to fall asleep to my voice though, but oh well. Am I the asshole? Customer tries buying large amount of gift cards I refuse for likely being an advance fee scam. End up losing the job. Last year I worked at a small budget grocery store. A guy wanted 3 $500 prepaid Visa gift cards. I mean, let's say, hold on. Are you sure this isn't an advance fee scam? No, they're for my personal use. That is a response that phone scammers tell people if they're being asked about why they are buying large denominations of cards. There were 2 tills at the stores, mine and the manager's. For some reason, the manager wasn't allowed to sell that amount of gift cards on her own terminal. Possibly an anti-theft measure. But that meant that the $1,500 of Visa gift cards had to be run up on my terminal. But I didn't feel good about this, so I refused. I asked the customer what they were for. If it wasn't a scam, he tells me an alternate reason, like, my 3 kids are all getting PS5s. I would have done it. But he refused to clarify and apparently can't even make up a lie. When I refuse to budge, the man leaves, I presume to talk to a scammer outside on his phone. We call up the head manager and she says, well, we warned him and that's all we can do. I say that we could do a little more and refuse to participate in this folder roll. Let him go somewhere else for his criminal activity. The manager on the floor says that I have to do it because she can't do it on hers. She literally tries to push me out of the way of my terminal to do it. And I stand my ground and she tries to hip push me. In what must have been a rather pathetic display, she finally says, you can do this or you can leave. So I left. After I cooled down a bit and got left, I called the head manager again and asked her, should I even come in tomorrow? It's hard to hire people in December. So I am willing to stay on. We can gamble this not happening again. She says that, nah, let's just make a clean break. I say, possibly interrupting her to eat waffles. Alright then, lose this number, and hang up on her. It says that this guy basically got taken for a ride, but also that I basically threw the drawing for no gain, and he still got taken for a ride. It was a minimum wage job during the pandemic. I wasn't attached to it or anything. A younger coworker at my other job didn't understand why I did it. They don't pay me enough to be a hero. Yeah, that's the thing. When you're getting paid minimum wage, you don't want to do shit. You don't want to do any more than you have to do. So OP is going above and beyond for his customer. And he was fired for trying to be a better human being than all the other shitheads that probably work there just for the money. It's like, I don't get why, it's like the thing is, when you're getting paid $12 an hour, if you do such a heroic thing in 5 minutes, you're only getting $1 for that awesome heroic thing that you just did that could have saved someone's life. That person's life in those 5 minutes were worth $1 of yours. Just think about that. Well, actually, less. Minimum wage is like most parts of the US is like $7. $7.25. That means that it's $29 for 4 hours. Wait, no. I'm trying to figure out. $7.25 per hour. the thing is, it's not doing a lot, but first. So $420, that's 60 hours. I'm sorry about doing math. But I'm trying to figure out just how much money minimum wage makes. So $420 for 60 hours. But then we also need to keep in fact the 25 cents. That's $15 because I'm not sure what I'm trying to do here, but 60 hours, you know what? I don't even think that's going to work. There's 60 minutes an hour. So wait, divide that by 100. 435, and I got 3/5 of an hour. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, I'm just confused. Let's see. Let's go into the calculator before I confuse ourselves more than we already probably are. 725 divided by 60. So if it takes 8 minutes, 8.27586,207 minutes to save someone's life, then that person's the amount of money that you made from saving that person's life is $1. That person's life during those 8 minutes cost $1. $1 for those 8 minutes of that person's life. That person's life, he was counting on someone that was only making $1 every 8 minutes to save his life. Most people aren't going to do that. Considering most people would make like $60 a day. So if you save someone's life that day, then their life was put in the hands of someone who only made actually $58 that day. God, $58 a day? Okay, let's just get rid of this before I go on a rant that lasts until 8:50. You're the asshole. He didn't tell you what they were specifically for because he is a private citizen. It is none of your business. Your manager told you to do it. You don't have to do anything unless you don't want to, but you should expect to lose your job. And ethically, your manager was right. You can warn the guy, but you can't live his life for him. That's not a good reason to refuse service. The other thing I'll say, not to either of your benefits, you do a better job of warning them. Actually explain the scam and point them to resources. If they want to buy the 3 gift cards, let them. Your problem is you think so little of the customer. And you think you're smarter than everyone else in our gatekeeping who buys gift cards and why they buy them. You're the asshole. But then somebody says not the asshole because he says some guy came into Best Buy when I worked there and needed 3 $500 gift cards for the same reason. I begged him not to buy them. He bought them. Came in 2 days later asking to refund them because it was a scam. OP did the right thing, not the asshole, OP. Keep protecting people that don't know any better. Telling them you think they are being scammed is not the same as preventing them from buying. Are you going to wander the streets at night and stop people from doing meth? You have the right to be foolish. Edit, you're the asshole. It was my job to do right by my customers. I get that everybody doesn't take retail that seriously, but it was my career for almost 2 decades. I hate seeing people get taken advantage of. I refused sales before, and I would again. I get everyone doesn't take retail that seriously. Having worked / currently working in retail, I'm just going to say that we as the employees are not supposed to be the founders of what people purchase. Am I going to throw a side eye at people buying over $200 worth of Lobster Plus? all the groceries falling they get, perhaps I might even let them know the price beforehand before ringing them up. However, I'm not going to outright refuse them to buy what they want to buy. And if I truly felt uncomfortable, I know that'd be me. I know that'd be a me issue and not the customer's fault, and let a manager/supervisor take care of the purchase. Oh, he didn't even allow that. That's what makes him the asshole here. Not remotely the same, but okay. I've worked retail as well, and I have to tell you, your stance here isn't chivalrous. It's your job to sell them whatever they've asked to purchase, no more. Warn them, and it might be a scam, but that's it. If they do it anyway, it's their mistake to work from. That's not true. When I worked in retail, they always told me if we suspect the slightest chance that the customer is being scammed, we need to refuse the sale. This has been as both a cashier and when I worked as a customer service counter and did money orders and shit. These were large retailers as well. The problem is the customers getting scammed didn't learn from it, and the stores end up with a bad reputation for allowing people to get scammed. If the store itself is being defrauded as part of the scam, I've seen a lot have stricter policies. I've never once heard a store being blamed because these people fall for these. If the customer is the scammer, then yes. Maybe it does happen, but not all the stores I worked at, and they were also large retailers. Even with obvious instances of theft, we were told to get back off it if they went to the door with the stolen products for safety reasons. And also, that wasn't OP store policy, so my statement about chivalry still stands. That's enough of that, and I want to do one more. Okay, this is going to be a sort of quick one. Am I the asshole for telling my brother he can't sleep over at my house anymore because of his girlfriend's nightmares? I'm 32 male and my brother is 19 male and his girlfriend is 18 female. They stay at my place sometimes because they live with her aunt, and sometimes the uncle gets pretty explosive and angry, so they just leave. Sometimes only once or twice a month, sometimes it's a few times a week. My house is the downstairs living room, kitchen, dining room, bathroom, and then small office/guest bedroom. Upstairs is one big loft. That's my bedroom. I'd say about 90% of the time she sleeps over, she wakes up screaming, blood curdling, like she's being murdered. She has those night terrors, and my brother's used to it enough that he just calms down and goes back to sleep. I have 2 large dogs that hear the screaming and go nuts. After I calm them, they're usually up and energetic, so I need to let them out and let them back in on this. This, and on top of the adrenaline of someone screaming like that, means I don't fall back asleep for a while, and I'm usually exhausted the next day. I recently started a new job. Finally got the job I went to college and graduate school for. Yesterday, my brother asked if they could sleep over, and I said no. If it was just me, I'd wear noise-canceling headphones, but I can't put those on my dogs. My brother says I'm the asshole for not having his back. And I'm really upset that his girlfriend and him feel like I'm judging. I'm really upset that his girlfriend and her feels like I'm judging her for her nightmares. Am I the asshole for telling them they can't stay over my house? No, you're not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not the slightest chance. No. It's your house. There don't need to be a reason to say no. It's your... So I'm not the asshole. Even if you had no reason, it is your house. They can rent a hotel room if need be. Under no obligation. Under no obligation are you required to let them stay over. it's a courtesy to let them stay. Not a basic need. And we'll read like a couple more comments. I was going to say until we reach like the 30-minute mark, but we're already past that, so 40 at the most. Not the asshole. Big difference between setting a boundary in your own house and judging her. You need sleep. Plain and simple. Not everything is about her. It's manipulative to put that way, whether it's purposely or not. I don't know. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I don't know anything about her except very limited details. Lol. This. I think being 19, your brother needs to learn if he's in a committed relationship. Then they need to work out on viable long-term solutions, therapy, social services, or alternative accommodation if they cannot afford themselves. Hell, even family counseling for the uncle's outbursts, if at all possible. He's 19. He needs to learn fast that he can just manipulate people around him for a quick fix. He'll be helping his girlfriend more in the long run, not just learning some personal lessons in himself. I get it that he's your little brother, but you cannot risk your own well-being for someone else's. Kudos on keeping to healthy boundaries and not being a doormat. The fact that it's adversely affecting your dog's own mental and emotional health in their own territory goes without saying. And even if OP was judging, they need to look after their own health before anyone else's. Nah. I've been that girlfriend waking up others from my nightmares. I've thankfully gotten better with therapy, but living in a volatile place, irons, means that you are constantly in fight or flight, and you cannot believe you are safe. You cannot relax, which makes the nightmares even worse. Best option is for them to get their own place and make sure their neighbors know about their screaming. Hopefully they don't live next to someone with small kids, where the girlfriend feels safe and secure, is able to access therapy, perhaps some sleep medication to help her as well. However, as awful as this that she's experiencing is, it is impacting your health. If you are in the position to help, I'd suggest that you do. But otherwise, assure her that's not her, but the impact on your sleep, aka your mental health. Good luck, OP. I was going nah as well. Surprised it took so long to find another. Not the asshole. That her night terrors are unfortunate, but not your problem. That's exactly what they're trying to make it. They can find other accommodations. Not the asshole. It sounds like the girlfriend is in serious need of counseling. Can your brother and girlfriend stay at your parents' house? Not the asshole. I have terrible night terrors as a result of PTSD that I'm working very hard to conquer with therapy. Absolutely no way do I sleep over at anyone's house. If I need to go anywhere, I stay in a hotel. And I'm open to my host about the reasons why. As harsh as it sounds, this is not your problem. See, with the hotel thing, like I mentioned. Not the asshole. His girl must understand that her nightmares affect the lives of other people. Like OP, they may be sympathetic for a problem, but they can't take this. Especially with animals in the house, which have no idea what happens when someone screams like this. She asked for her understanding of her situation, but she herself has none of his. He can lose his job if he keeps being too tired, but at least they can sleep. Not the asshole. Is there anywhere else your brother can go? Because sleep is important. With your dogs making it harder to sleep, her staying over really isn't ideal. Not the asshole. Was unfortunate your brother's girlfriend has night terrors, which cause her to scream extremely loud. She is not your responsibility, and you and your dogs are legally and morally entitled to prioritize your peaceful enjoyment of your home. Especially in even ADA regulations concerning reasonable accommodations for medical disabilities won't cover your brother's girlfriend's night terror screamings if they're so loud. If they're so loud, they disturb neighbors to the point they end up sleep deprived and suffering from documented illnesses from the effect. Such a case happened about 15 odd years back ago in an apartment building on my parents' block. The screams from one apartment owner was such it prompted the condo board to start eviction proceedings, which prompted a countersuit from the screaming apartment owner for violation of ADA regulations on reasonable accommodation with those with disabilities. Guess what? The judge ruled against the screaming apartment owner by ruling while the apartment owner had documented disabilities. The accommodations he was expecting were not reasonable under ADA, as they would cause the rest of the building to suffer sleep deprivation and documented illnesses from her screamings. Screaming apartment owner ended up evicted with court approval to the relief of everyone in that building, especially neighbors 2 floors above and below her. Not the asshole. It's time for a brother and his girlfriend to start looking for a new place to live or have sleepovers. Yay! Screaming adults or kids, no matter the reason, would be just cause you want. Screaming adults or kids, no matter the reason, would be just cause for you to want a scream-free home if you desire or need it. It's not your fault either that it takes a toll on you. The two issues don't have a compromise, and your dogs deserve peace and quiet too. Neither one of them are tending to the dogs when the screaming happens. Husband and I could hear loud screaming coming from a child as we would be escorted to a table to eat. And was asked where we'd like to sit. I said the non-screaming section. I would like to a table further away, though it's easier on the ears. Oh, this was a long one. Oh my god, I just realized. 12:24, like, each one's like longer than the last. Soon enough, I'll be having 3-hour episodes every day. Yeah, that'd never actually be able to happen. I just realized I'm literally talking for like 40 minutes to myself. I just realized that's probably sort of weird. But I don't really have anything else to talk about, and I don't want to make this video much longer than it already is. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity to say goodbye. And I'll see you next time. Bye. This is Mr. Hurricane Boy. This is episode 3 of Reddit. This time, r/AmITheAsshole. End.